Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name's Matt and today I'm going to be talking about how I overcame anxiety within a 3-year period, and I'm just going to be going over some of the feelings that you get when you have anxiety. So if you're a family member of someone who has anxiety, you'll understand a little bit more about what they're feeling and what you can do to help. And also if you have anxiety and you're currently dealing with it, just to give you a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, I used to have very severe panic attacks which gave me sort of heart attack symptoms. So I'd get very fast heartbeat, I'd lose feeling in my arms and legs, I'd get tunnel vision, then blackout. And that was at the start of my journey essentially, and now I hardly ever get any anxiety. I basically, I got anxiety about 6 months ago, and it was very, very light in comparison with how it started. So just wanted to give you guys some advice and hopefully show you some hope. I recently met someone at a wedding and who was also experiencing these similar kind of symptoms, and I found that hopefully some of the comments that I gave were helpful, and it also helps just to know that other people out there are experiencing the same thing as you. So let's get into it. So my experience started about 3 years ago when a lot of things were happening in my life. I had arguments with certain people, and I was trying to help everyone with everything apart from myself. I was one of those people that never thought that stress affected me. I just thought, oh, it's another problem, it's nothing, and I'll fix it. But I never realized that those things would build up inside of me, and then eventually it caused me to have a panic attack. And when it happened, I was just going for a run. So one of the things was trying to keep healthy. I was just like, I always need to try and keep healthy. Another thing was I need to try and be successful. Another thing was I need to help my family. Another thing was I want to have a successful relationship for myself. And another thing was I wanted to make a certain amount of money. And all these things are running around in my head, and I'm not consciously thinking about them all at the same time. I'm not consciously fearing something, but it all overloaded all at once. And then I realized that I had this sort of threshold that I broke through, and I need to be conscious of it in the future. And it took me a long time to understand that. I used to just think I was invincible in terms of like emotional strength, and I do think it's possible to get to that level, but I just wasn't coping with it in the right way at the time. So basically I was going for a run after work, and I just noticed that I was getting a bit of pain in my chest, just here, and I then started to walk instead of run back home, and the pain wouldn't go away, and I was just feeling tightness in my chest and more difficulty breathing. I was thinking, what the fuck is going on? What is going on with me? And then I started to think, oh, it will probably go away, but there was a little bit of worry in my head that it was some kind of like difficulty with my heart working or something. Anyway, I get home, decide to just lay down and relax. I did for about an hour or so, and then I got a phone call from my girlfriend at the time, who is now my wife, and she is a lot more understanding of my feelings and stuff like that, and how my anxiety, and we've worked through it together, and she's one of my trusted people, which I'll talk about a little bit later in talking about these things. But at the time we were having an argument, and she called up and we were sort of making up. But during that conversation, about 5 minutes after that conversation, I just got this shooting like numbness up the back of my head, and then my whole head just started fizzing and became like numb, and then my arms just started slowly becoming numb, and I could feel pins and needles going through my arms and my legs. And then I just started walking into another room, and I was like, I don't know what's happening to me. I asked one of my family members to call the ambulance, and I thought I was having a heart attack. And then slowly my vision got more and more tunneled like that and became black. And then I sat down in a chair as soon as I felt that happening. And then for about 5 seconds, I couldn't see anything, but I was still like, I could still feel my like chest and my abdomen and stuff like that. And then I sort of woke up and I was like, oh, I feel like sort of back to normal. And it slowly got better and better. I could feel my arms coming back and my legs, and it sounds really weird. The ambulance turned up, and then they checked me over, said that blood pressure is fine. You've not got any problems with breathing. Your heart sounds fine. So we can't really take you to A&E. There's nothing wrong with you. And so that triggered something in my head, and I was like, what's going on? So I went to the GP, and over a series of sessions, I found out that I had some issues with anxiety. And the first thing that I would recommend is actually seeing a doctor, because you never know. Although the fear of having a problem with your body might be giving you anxiety, a doctor telling you that there's nothing wrong with you physically will actually give you peace of mind to go, right, it's something else and I need to do something about it. And the fact that you've gone and seen the doctor and they reassured you that there's nothing wrong with your physical health, going there and then having a new plan to try and figure out what the problem is will make you feel better that you've got one step further to not getting rid of, but building the blocks up to sort of solving this problem. And the problem being that in my case, you have an unconscious fear about something, and my unconscious fear took many different forms. Originally, it was an overwhelming feeling of stress, which I didn't know was happening. And then afterwards, it became an overwhelming sense that there's something wrong with my body. And then it became other overwhelming feelings that I couldn't control. So it's basically, I have an issue with control. And so anything that puts me in a position where I feel out of control, it makes me anxious. But I've learned that is what makes me anxious, and therefore I have learned to trust my body with the way it feels when I feel like I'm out of control, and then it doesn't affect me as much. And so that's how I've gotten to a position 3 years down the line where I have very small bouts of anxiety within like a 3 to 6 month period, and it just goes away. But before, it was every single day. It was then became like 2 to 3 days a week, and it was severe anxiety. I was just getting really palpitations, heavy heartbeat, numbness in my arms and legs, that sort of thing at the start, and then it slowly became less and less as I learnt these things. So there's just an idea of how it can feel. I've got a little list of things I wanted to talk about here. So brief introduction, and then so one of the things that helped me to understand what was happening to me was basically keeping a diary of what happens before and after my anxiety. And we've got the low battery sign coming here. I might need to plug it in a second. But so one of the things is logging what happens before and after you get anxiety, so that you can learn the pattern of what's happening, what triggers your anxiety, and to write it down on paper will actually help you see how illogical your thoughts actually are. So when you're thinking something in your head, it's kind of not very organized. But when you say it out loud to someone who you trust, and you log it down on a piece of paper, and you spot the patterns, you can not only see what's triggering your anxiety, but you can also see how irrational and illogical it is. And that will help you to realize that your brain doesn't always have your best interest at mind in terms of how you feel physically. And for me, I started to realize that I would get anxious when I felt out of control in certain situations. So for example, I was watching when I was having anxiety about my health, if I watched a TV program and there was something about someone having a heart attack, I would start going, I do get heart pains, I do get those symptoms, maybe there is something wrong with me. And then I would have to sit and wait out this anxiety attack to go away. And then I go, why the hell did I think that was happening to me? Like, because I watched that program, I saw exactly the reaction in myself happening, and then like it's completely illogical that I should think that a program is gonna give me a heart attack just because of I think that I have a heart condition because this program is on. And so the two are completely not related, as opposed to having heart disease from eating too much and having a clog in your heart and then having a heart attack. I should also consider that I'm extremely young, in my opinion, and that the doctor has already told me that there's nothing wrong with my heart. The doctor has told me that you're fit and healthy, and that you're very unlikely to have it because you don't have any family members who have had heart attacks or heart disease. And so the odds are against this conclusion happening in my head. But at the time, you don't realize that because you just think, I get those symptoms, therefore it's happening to me. And then you go, I can't control this, and therefore you get this fight or flight adrenaline going through your body, and I get those, what's it called? It's called psychosomatic feelings of having a heart attack. So there was one thing that happened, and I logged that whenever I watched something, anything that was to do with your heart, it would make me anxious. And then I understood that the feeling of being out of control of my health was making me anxious because I wrote it down, and I also spoke it out loud to people that I trusted. And then I realized that this is completely illogical. Like I just said, what I was thinking is completely unrelated. When you reason with it afterwards and you speak it out loud and you see it on paper, you can understand that those things are not correct. So there's one piece of, I think, fundamental advice to people who are going through anxiety or loved ones who have someone who has anxiety, to recommend for them to do and to do yourself, because it will help you it will give you that extra tool in resetting yourself and going, nothing's wrong, I'm just thinking irrationally. And the difficulty is, it's very easy for me to say that, but being in that position, and you're going to probably think the same, it's very easy for me to say that, but when you're in that position of having an anxiety attack, it's very difficult to just talk yourself down. So here's my second tip, and that is, it's basically, this will only work for people who are not scared of planes, but I'll try and provide another example afterwards. But if you imagine when you get on a plane, you get on the plane trusting that the plane is going to take off and land, and you've seen that many of your friends have gone on a plane before, they've survived the trip, nothing's gone wrong with the plane. You sit there and you trust that everything's going to work and it's going to land and you're going to get to your destination. If you think of your body as if it is a plane rather than being, think of your body as being detached from your brain, and the feelings that you have in your body aren't necessarily related to the things that you think are happening to you. And just trust that your body is going to work, and that it doesn't need your interference. It doesn't need you to go and take the wheel. It doesn't need you to go and say, oh, to the pilot, I think we're going to crash. You just need to trust that your body is doing what it needs to do, and you're not in control of how it feels 100% of the time. And for me, that was a huge deal for me to reduce my anxiety and how disconnecting how my head thinks about how my body should feel and how I can fix it. I just now I go, oh, I feel a little bit of I feel something going on in my chest, and I go, oh, wait a minute, that's just going to happen, and it will I'm just going to trust that my body knows what it's doing. And you'll be surprised over time how quickly that gets you relaxed, and you just go, oh, it's just the way it is. And it's hard to say that sometimes, because especially if you're a driven person and you are in control of everything, like you're able to access, this is one of the reasons why I think anxiety is so common these days. You're able to access any information you want all the time, find the answers to everything you want, contact anyone you want all the time on social media, emails, phone call, and you're in control of so much stuff these days. But when you find out you can't control yourself, you go, fuck, like what the fuck is going on? I need to fix it. And your brain just goes, I want to fix it, and then you can't fix it, and you just go into that cycle of further and further, deeper and deeper anxiety. And so that's my theory on why more people are getting anxiety these days. But it's kind of like a Chinese finger trap. This is quite a good example I described before. You put your finger into a Chinese finger trap, and it's something that goes over both fingers. If you Google it, Chinese finger trap, you put your fingers in. It's really easy to put in. When you try and pull it out, the harder you pull, the tighter it gets, and you can't pull your finger out. But if you relax and just slowly slip it out, and you can even like ease it out with your other finger like that, you go, oh, that was easy, and then you just go like that. But the harder you pull, the more difficult it gets. And it's the same with your mind. The harder you're trying to fix it, the more difficult it puts you into that loop of just putting you in a worse and worse position until you eventually run out of energy. And what I was finding was that I was having panic attack after panic attack after panic attack for an entire day, sometimes for 10 hours straight. I would have one panic attack and I would go, oh, I'm so tired, like it's over. And then something else would trigger me and I'd have another panic attack, and something else would trigger me and I'd have another panic attack. And it happened for the whole day, because I just didn't know what I was doing, and I was still doing that, having that loop and trying to fix myself. It really can be quite terrible in the beginning, but the reason why I want to make this video is because I have gone through it all, and I want to show you that light at the end of the tunnel. Like, I'm able to talk about these things now. Before, if I was talking about it, I might then grip onto something that I was thinking and go, oh no, I can feel it again, and that's making me anxious, and then it will trigger an anxiety attack. But now I go, oh, it's just my body doing what it does, and I just sit there, and I don't even have a trigger anymore. It just takes like 30 seconds and it goes away. But before, it was more difficult. So those are my main points. I do have 2 other videos on how to deal with anxiety short term, and also how to deal with anxiety long term. But my journey, I think, over the 3-year period was most affected by writing down and logging what happens before and after the anxiety, and then talking to a trusted person, either a close friend who you trust very well, who's not going to exploit your weaknesses, because I told people who did exploit it, unfortunately, and they know who they are, and they may watch this video, and I don't care, I don't talk to you anymore. And they made it worse, and they used it to so yeah, basically make sure you're talking to someone you trust. I talk to my wife about it, I talk to my family, I talk to people that I know have my back, and help me get through it eventually. So it's yeah, so talk to someone you trust, log what's happening to you, and then know that your body is going to get through it, and treat it like it's a vehicle rather than something that you have control over. Because people get lots of issues with their body, they can't control it with their brain, and it's not something that you can fix straight away with your brain. So just because you can do this, that and the other in real life, sorry, not in real life, but in the world that we think we can control, doesn't mean that you can control everything that's going on in your body. And I think that is the key that is going to get you through this, because that was the key for me. And I've said it to several other people that I know who've had anxiety, and it's helped them. So so yeah, check out those 2 other videos. I've got a link in the description for them. If you've got any questions about how to about your situation, or what you think asking for what the next steps might be for you, then please do write them in the comments below. Use an alias, you can change your name or something, or make a new account if you don't want to be seen, and I'll be happy to help you out, because it's been a long journey for me, and I really want to help other people out there. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please do give it a like so that more people can see it, and a comment, because it increases the engagement in the video, and it will go higher up in that list on YouTube, and hopefully help more people. So thank you very much for watching, and guys, I'll have more anxiety videos soon, depending on what you guys say. Maybe I can help you out with specific situations, but yeah, I usually do DIY videos. If you're interested in DIY, then check them out in my, I think it's up there in the video section of my channel. And if you find that content interesting, then please do subscribe as well. Yeah, and I'll see you guys soon. Stay safe. Your body is a vehicle, remember that. Your body is a vehicle, it's really true. And you can't always be in control of how you feel. So keep that in mind, stay safe, and there is light at the end of the tunnel. So see you soon.